Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Yahweh Bashem Shai. Barakatham to the hopefully elect. And this is just a real quick World War III news updates. Since the last video I did going into, what's going on concerning World War III updates, Amen. Yahweh Bashem Shai, he's moving the chess pieces, man. Because, like I said, man, it's a lot going on. I'm gonna play two videos, and just speak on some things going on with the nations. All right, because Yahweh Bashem Shai, he's mustering the host to the battle. Which I'll probably get that, but real quick, because I saw this video. It says the world powers pledge to avoid nuclear war. All right, and because pretty much these nations, they don't want to have a nuclear fallout, but however, unfortunately for these nations, the leaders of these nations, this is all the will of Yahweh Bashem Shai concerning the nuclear warfare, nuclear fallout. All right, that has to take place. It's going to take place eventually, because it's all the will of the Lord, man. And from there is going to usher in for the hopefully elect our deliverance. All right, so we want this to happen. All right, even though these nations, these different leaders, they don't want it to go nuclear. Nevertheless, the Lord is he's gonna put it into their minds. All right, he's gonna put that evil thought. In fact, I'll get that real quick. And Ezekiel chapter 38. I'm going to jump down to verse 10. It says, "Thus saith the Lord power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought." Why? Because the Lord is going to put it into their minds. All right. More specifically talking about the Russians, because they're going to be the main tool that Yahweh Bashem Shai uses to completely destroy Babylon the Great. Because, you're going to have all these nations shoot their missiles. All right. Because like I said, it is prophesied, like it said here, it says, "Thus saith the Lord power, it shall also come to pass." All right. So, hey, all these things, man, the Lord said it is bound to happen. At some point these things are going to take place, and whether they want to or not, the Lord's going to put it into the minds of all these different nations, the leaders of these nations, to press those buttons and shoot those missiles. All right, whether they want to or not. Because again, ultimately, the Yahweh Bashem Shai, he's stirring all the minds of these different leaders and gearing them towards World War III. All right. So I'm going to play some of this video here.
4 days into 2022, and we're already looking at a fake New Year resolution. Who's making it? The P5, the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, the United States, Britain, Russia, China, and France. What is their resolution? To never fight a nuclear war. Now, this resolution is a rarity. You see, the P5 never agree on anything, not on climate change, not on COVID-19, not even a universal ceasefire. So how did they agree to this one? A, because it is not a sincere promise, and B, because it is the bare minimum. Let me show you what the joint statement says. I'm quoting, "We reaffirm that a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. As nuclear use would have far-reaching consequences, we also affirm that nuclear weapons, for as long as they continue to exist, should serve defensive purposes, deter aggression, and prevent war." How very thoughtful. World powers are kind enough to let humanity survive. They're generous enough to avert a nuclear apocalypse. What are they expecting in return? A thank you note? The fact is that the P5 has brought us to the brink of nuclear apocalypse. Put together, they have 12,620 nuclear warheads. Enough to flatten the earth. Their armies are engaged in multiple standoffs. Russia and America in Ukraine, China and America in Taiwan, China again in the Himalayas. So they have the warheads. They are threatening war. But they're also urging peace and disarmament. Let me go back to the joint statement. Here's what it says on dismantling nukes. We underline our desire to work with all states to create a security environment more conducive to progress on disarmament, with the ultimate goal of a world without nuclear weapons with undiminished security for all. Sounds great again. No nukes, yet complete security. But what are these countries doing to achieve it? Look at China, for instance. Right now, they have around 350 nuclear warheads, 350. But reports say that they're expanding. By 2027, China could have 700 nukes. And by 2030, 1,000. Now, these numbers were published by the Pentagon. So yes, it could be an exaggeration, but the intent is unquestionable. China is building around 200 new missile silos. They're making road-based intercontinental ballistic missiles. They're commissioning nuclear-armed submarines. Last year, they also tested a hypersonic missile. Clearly, Beijing is gathering more nukes. But if you ask them, it's all part of what they call modernization.
But it is not our policy to expand.
So, right, I'm going to get this. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, starting at verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. As you jump down to the point, verse 8, it says, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. So, as I read in verse 1, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. All right. And right now we're in the season of war. We're in wartime, spiritually, we got to gird up, being that this is the year that Yahweh Shai is going to turn up, man. Judgment is going to be sent forth. Is going to intensify. Things are going to get much worse. Conditions are going to get much more dire, and it's going to get very uncomfortable. So spiritually, we got to gird up our loins like men, be men. All right, and get ready to face this face the adversity, right? But, hey, on the level of, like I said, because, we're in the time of war, things is about to pop off. Life as we know it is about to drastically and dramatically, it's about to change. All right. Because as I often say, the virgin daughter of Babylon, well, hey, her virginity, her cherry is about to get popped. All right. Because America's about to get touched. Because here it is. You got China created this or supposedly created this new hypersonic missile. I think it was like a heat-seeking missile, something like that. And they pretty much beat America to the punch, because pretty much America is pretty much trying to play catch up with China right now. And everyone's worried about it, right? And you should be, because, hey, America's not the big bad bully on the block anymore. Matter of fact, I'm going to fast forward this video.
It's expansion, same way as China does. They don't call it expansion, they call it modernization. Technically, these new missiles will replace old ones. But why not retire them completely? Because the US is not sincere. France, by the way, was not even happy with this resolution. Their policy permits first use of nuclear weapons, meaning they don't have to wait for an attack. They can fire nukes as a warning. In fact, the French Air Force practices this a lot. Every 3 months, they hold poker drills. French jets and tankers practice dropping nuclear bombs. Nothing says non-proliferation like mock drills on dropping nukes. All these countries are expanding their nuclear arsenal. They are preparing for war or threatening war. So who made them the guardians of the nuclear club? A treaty from the Cold War. It was signed in 1968.
Again, who's causing all this to happen? Yahweh Bashim Shai. Get this in Isaiah chapter 13. In Isaiah 13 and 4, the noise of the multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. All right. So again, the Lord is he's assembling these nations. All right, because when you look at that word mustereth, it pretty much goes into a gathering, a collecting, and an assembling of troops, pretty much, right? And again, the Lord, he's stirring up the minds of these different leaders and gearing these nations up towards World War III. All right, because that's going to be the war to end all wars, literally. All right. And you see, this is what a lot of people are afraid of when touching on this topic, dealing with World War III, because everyone has nukes now, and they know that, hey, if it goes nuclear, then that's it, but fortunately for the elect, that's not the end or be all, because when it does go nuclear, not if, but when it does go nuclear, like I said, the Lord's going to put it on the minds of these these leaders to press those buttons. All right. And, that's going to henceforth bring forth our deliverance, the hopeful elect. All right. So the Lord mustering the host of the battle, man, he's stirring all this up. Because like I said, with China, they're creating a new hypersonic heat-seeking or seeker missile. Right. Just to touch on some things that's going on. Like with the Ukraine, Ukraine, they are pretty much banning access to Russian ships. They don't want to basically, they don't want Russia, they don't want nothing to do with Russia anymore, because Russia's getting ready to invade the Ukraine. As much as they keep saying they don't want to, they're about to invade the Ukraine, And like I said, because Vladimir Putin, he keeps saying how he doesn't want war, so on and so forth. Like I said, these nations, they don't want to go to war, but the Lord's stirring their minds and gearing them towards World War III, because you got Ukraine, they got like planes and stuff. They're like surveilling Russia, basically spying on Russia, so that they could prepare for, some type of defense for when or if Russia invades, Ukraine. They're basically spying them out just to, be on the fence, just to be ready, What else is going on, man? You had basically Israel and the Palestinians going back and forth once again. Pretty much the ceasefire has been broken. All right, so now they're shooting rockets at one another once again. And hey, man, the Palestinians, man, they're basically talking about how they got something in store for Israel. I believe they said something about some weapon, some new weapon that they got in store for Israel. You see, and Israel, they're like kind of pissed off because Russia is basically helping the Iran to strike Israel. I believe Russia's providing weaponry to Iran, which, like I said, Israel, they don't like that, because going back to Ezekiel chapter 38, because not only that, you got because I believe I mentioned this before, how Russia, they basically invited Iran to talks. They wanted to come together, But not only that, I believe Russia, they linked up with linked up with Turkey. All right, and they're talking about strengthening their relationship, right? You know, and again, as a prophecy states, going back to Ezekiel 38, verse 2 says, "Son of man, set thy face against Gog in the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal." Because, them Russians, like I said, even though they are going to be the main tool that Yahweh Shemashai uses to destroy America, nevertheless, they're still Edomites. All right. And the Lord's still going to, deal with them accordingly. All right. They're still Edomites. But it says, verse 4, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen of them, clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords." Now, because touching on Russia, because pretty much, man, Moscow, man, they're basically threatening NATO. All right, and because the Ukraine is looking to become a part of NATO, and Russia's, they're not having that. All right, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but you have like NATO basically helping the Ukraine out. And listen, man, Russia, they're in that spirit of, hey, listen, man, if y'all don't want to back off and mind your business, man, hey, everyone, we gonna turn everyone into dust. They pretty much said something along those lines to how, hey, man, everyone's gonna be turned into ashes, man. So y'all better back off and mind your business, right? And what I just read, verse 4, it says, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth." So Yahweh Shem Shai is putting that again to show you how the Lord is controlling all this. Because again, these nations, they don't want to go to war. They don't want it to go nuclear. But the Lord, this is all the will of the Lord. All right, because the Lord is putting that old Soviet Union type spirit back into those Russians, man. Because, hey, man, they're not playing no games. Like I said, they sending out the threats that, hey, man, everyone's going to be turned into ash, man. So with that, when you read on, it says, verse 5, "Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, with them, all of them, shield and helmet." It says, "Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them." So like I said, with Iran, when you go into Persia, as it said in verse 5, talk about Persia, right? How they're linking up. And like I just said, with Turkey, Russia's meeting up with Turkey. All right. So they can strengthen their relationship. All right. That goes into Gomer. When you read verse 6, it said it talks about Gomer. I believe that's I believe that's Turkey. Right. You see, because again, Russia, all these nations are going to link up with Russia. All right. And you just see how the Lord is moving the chess pieces. He's putting everything into place. All right, because like I said, Russia is basically helping out Iran. I believe they're providing weaponry, right, to strike Iran, to strike Israel, right? And amen. Again, seeing this play out, man, it's called Lo Yahweh Shema Shai. It's beautiful. All right, because we're that much closer. All right, because hey. As we know, or as we should know, when Israel and Iran start going at it, that's going to draw America, Russia, and all these other places like China. All right. Which China is getting ready to, it's looking like they're not backing down when it comes to what they want to do with Taiwan. Right. Because they want to invade Taiwan. Taiwan is basically claiming dependency, which, like I said, or I didn't say, but China they're not having that. Basically China looks at Taiwan as their own province, and hey, Taiwan, like I said, they're proclaiming dependency. They don't want nothing to do with China. So Taiwan is getting prepared to defend themselves in case China wants to invade, right? I believe Taiwan, they opened fire on Chinese boats, if I'm not mistaken. And like I said, man, like with the Ukraine, you got Ukraine and the Taiwan, man. They're basically arming themselves, all right, and getting ready for a fight, man. They're preparing themselves, in case Russia or China, in case they try to invade, all right, they're prepared to fight. And you see, because America is backing both backing both the Ukraine and Taiwan. So hey, if Russia and China invade these two nations, then hey, America isn't going to be in a position to where they're going to have to defend these nations. You see, and hey, man, because you got like Taiwan, man, they don't trust America. That's the thing about it. They don't trust America. And I believe Ukraine feels the same way, man, because hey, the cat is out of the bag, and people have found this place out to not be what it is. What it's proclaimed to be for so long. People, a lot of nations, and I'm talking about American allies, man. A lot of America's allies are starting to see this place for what it really is, and start to see Esau for what it really is. For who he really is. A liar and a deceiver. So a lot of these America's allies, like Taiwan and the Ukraine, they don't trust America. And Biden is assuring these nations that, hey, if either of these nations, try to invade, we got your back, And you see, again, the thing about it is, hey, because let's say that Russia and China invade Ukraine and Taiwan at the same time. That's going to spread America's military out, very thin. So, I mean, that's not going to be a good thing. You see, and that was also another sign. That's something that took place during the Roman Empire. That was a part of their downfall. Was spreading their military out too thin, and America's doing the same thing. You see, so yeah, that going on. With that going on, going back to Iran, how they got, because you just had the their second, I think it was their second annual what do you call it, over the killing of the general Soleimani, right? Which a lot of those the Iranians, they're preparing, or they're vowing revenge, because they're talking about how they want Trump, man. They want to put Trump on trial, and they said if they don't put Trump on trial, man, then they're going to vow revenge, And Iran, they're burning American flags as well as Israel flags. They're burning the Israeli and American flags. So hey, again, the tensions in the air, man, and then it doesn't appear to be dying down. And Lord's will, it doesn't. Lord's will, it doesn't, man. All right. Because, hey, man, the Lord's going to put the spirit on those Iranians too, man. I'm going to get that in the Apocrypha. And this is why, hey, those Israelis, they don't want, this is why they're trying to stop Iran from possessing these weapons of mass destruction, right? Because Israel, they want to be the only ones in that region to, have that weaponry, right? So, hey, they're prepared to strike Iran and, certain nuclear facilities, and they're basically willing to do anything to stop Iran from, getting a hold of these type of weapons. All right, because they know if they do that, that's pretty much the end for Israel. But you see, like I said, the Lord, he's stirring all this up, and he's going to put the spirit on those Iranians. I'm going to read this in I'm going to read this in 2nd Ezra chapter 15. I'll start at verse 28. It says, "Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east," talking about them over there in the Middle East, "where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble." All right. And I believe when it talks about the Arabia, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's talking about Ishmael, if I'm not mistaken. It says, also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. So, damn, that's spiritual. Damn, because, hey, check this out. And again, because the Carmanians going into those Iranians, right? Damn, that's the spirit. Because I had this video here. Check this out.
Venezuela can hit Miami with Iranian-made drones. The Alma Research and Education Center report said the UAVs can gather intelligence and strike surface or air targets, including by conducting a suicide explosive attack. Sharing them with Venezuela, an anti-American ally about 2,000 kilometers from Miami, may be intended to make America think twice before any military action against Iran. Even if they do not actually act from it, in Iran's strategic view, merely having a presence there is a threat to the U.S., the Alma Center's Major Talbiri wrote. Earlier, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro called the purchase of missiles from Iran a good idea, instructing Defense Minister to follow up on the issue. Iranian-made unmanned aerial vehicles are stationed in Venezuela, on the northeast tip of South America, where some 2,000 kilometers separate them from skyscrapers in Miami, the author of a new report on the threat of UAVs has told JNS. Major Talbiri, head of the research department at the Alma Center, a defense watchdog located in northern Israel, said the new report highlighted a topic that until now has received little attention, the arrival of Iranian-made UAVs in the Western Hemisphere. The report notes that in general, Iranian-made UAVs compose thousands of unmanned systems, which are designed to gather intelligence and to strike surface or air targets either by launching missiles and bombs or conducting a suicide explosive attack by diving into the target. Venezuela, essentially in the backyard of the U.S., is a state that the office of Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei classifies as being, at least symbolically, a part of the radical Shiite axis, said Biri, a former member of the IDF Military Intelligence Directorate.
Hey, man, that's the spirit, man. So, yeah, man, Iran, they have drones placed in Venezuela pointing at America, and more specifically, Miami, all right? You know, the Miami area, right? Just in case America wants to, do something, then hey, Iran could strike America from Venezuela, man. Hey, man, I'm gonna read that again. Exodus 15, verse 30. It says, also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Talking about America, man. You see? Matter of fact, when you read verse 31, it says, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. So, hey, oh man, this is, like I said, man, this is beautiful. You seeing how the Lord is actually moving the chess pieces. All right. And, America's through, man. This Babylon the Great, she is finished. Like I said, hey, America's about to get her cherry popped, man. All right. Because this place is known as a land of unwalled villages. No hedge of protection. Anyone can just come in and invade this land. And that's what's going to start taking place. That's why I say earlier, hey, we got to prepare ourselves, man, spiritually. All right. We got to get ready because, hey, America, this place is going to be turned into a third world country. It's going to be turned into a wasteland, a desolate wasteland. And I'm talking about before the missiles hit. All right. Because it's going to be so bad out here. All right. But yeah, man, I'm going to get this one here. And Joel. Hey, man, this is beautiful, man. This is beautiful. The Lord is moving the chess pieces. So Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Like I said, we're in the time of war. All right. it says, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So, hey, and this is what the Lord is doing, is waking up the mighty men, again, stirring the minds of these different leaders, these nations, the leaders of these nations, and gear them towards World War III. You know, we're in a time of war, man, you know. So this was just some updates or, you know, what's going on, man. Hey, you know, pray that the Lord, you know, bring, you know, he hastens these things, man, you know, because again, knowing and understanding, believing that out of this, you know, once those nuke buttons gets pressed, this is going to usher in our deliverance, the hopefully elect. So hopefully this was edifying and giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Yahweh Bashim Shai Brakathum, to the hopefully elect. Those one until next time, Shalom.